Hello and welcome. Today we're diving into how MCP agents actually talk to each other and why the way they communicate has changed over time.
Right. And it's a fascinating journey. Let's start with the basics. Why does the way agents communicate even matter?
Great question. Imagine you're building an AI agent that needs to work with other tools or services. The way it sends and receives messages, its communication method, can make things super simple or really complicated. That's why MCP, the Model Context Protocol, has evolved its approach.
So let's go back to the beginning. The first method was something called STDIO. Think of it like two programs whispering to each other on the same computer, fast, direct, and simple. It's perfect when everything's running locally, like plugins in your code editor.
Exactly. But as soon as you want your agent to talk to something on the web, things get trickier. That's where SSE, or Server Sent Events, came in. It's kind of like having an open phone line. The server can send updates to the client whenever something new happens, instead of the client having to constantly check in.
That was a big step forward, but it had its own headaches. You needed two separate connections, one for sending, one for receiving. It worked, but imagine trying to have a conversation using two phones, one for listening, one for talking. Not ideal.
Right. And that brings us to the latest and greatest, streamable HTTP. This is more like chatting on WhatsApp. You start with a quick message, but if the conversation gets deeper, you can smoothly switch to a live call, all in the same app. It's flexible, reliable, and much easier to manage.
And here's something really cool. Some solutions are using streamable HTTP together with AWS Lambda and DynamoDB. That means even though Lambda functions are stateless by default, you can keep track of ongoing conversations by storing session data in DynamoDB. Each session gets a unique ID, so the agent remembers the context, even if the underlying server changes.
Exactly. So you get the flexibility and scalability of serverless, but you don't lose that important sense of continuity in your conversations. It's a great example of how modern infrastructure and communication methods work hand in hand.
So to sum up, MCP started with STDIO for local, simple communication, moved to SSE for web-based streaming, and now prefers streamable HTTP because it's just more natural and robust for modern needs.
If you're building something new, streamable HTTP is the way to go. But the cool thing is, MCP still supports the older methods for compatibility, so you're not left behind.
That's right. The main takeaway. The way agents communicate has evolved to make things easier for developers and more powerful for AI. Thanks for joining us, and we hope this helps you choose the right approach for your next